Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Barry Morrison, tōku inoa General Manager Northern mō Clubs New Zealand. Nau mai, haere mai, ki Class 4 Gaming and Clubs webinar, key updates and common pitfalls. Ngā mihi nui, mō tō koutou, hone mai e tēnei rā. Ke konei hoki a Keith Ballantyne, General Manager Southern mō Clubs New Zealand. And also Lee Williams is in the room running the technical side for Keith and I. Greetings to you all. My name is Barry Morrison, General Manager Northern for Clubs New Zealand. Welcome to this Class 4 Gaming and Clubs webinar, the common pitfalls and key updates. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Also with us is Keith Ballantyne, General Manager Southern for Clubs New Zealand. We'll kick right in with the first slide and the first presentation. So Lee will share the screens for you.
Just remind them that
we are recording this session, so it will be available on the website later on. And also please use the chat function for the questions. Lee will read those out and we'll try and answer those as we go along if it's relevant to the topic we're covering. Earlier this year, DIA issued some new requirements for displaying the gaming license, your gaming license. You no longer have to display the full gaming license. So you don't have to have the list of machines. You don't have to have the authorized purposes available. The essential information you need is on your screens there. It's your venue details and the commencement and the expiry of the license. Looking at that example that we've borrowed from a Potiki, Kia ora Moana, thank you for that. That is the information that you require to display now moving forward. One thing I do want to point out though, and we've noticed as we go around the clubs, is the DIA get it wrong. And you'll note down the bottom there that the license commences on the 3rd of April 2025, but expires on the 30th of September 2024. They are typos. Please check your license when you get it from the DIA. And if there's an error like that, go back to them and get them to correct it. Saves a little bit of confusion.
So, my jump in now, guys, and girls, of course. A lot of these requirements and the things that we're now actually seeing is brought up about from when Barry and I travel around the countryside. For a lot of our clubs, particularly our bigger clubs, a lot of the things that we're going to cover today, you will already be doing, and well done. Keep doing it. There'll also be different requirements and different aspects of some of these new interpretations and regulations that I know that some of the bigger clubs are going to be balking about, and you will be having ongoing conversations with things. But we tend to try and do a broad brushstroke over things, and it's really trying to help the clubs that are getting a few things wrong and try and make life a bit easier for you. So one of the first things with your GMAS, of course, is your GC7. And one of the things that they are particularly looking at, so a lot of this has come about as well from clubs that have actually already had their balance dates, and they have had conversations back with the DIA around their license applications. So back in about December, they decided there was a new interpretation around undistributed funds going forward. And basically their new interpretation is that you need to get it to as near as possible to zero each year. So back where there was a sort of an agreement that you could retain up to about 7%, that's no longer there. They're expecting you to utilise your funds in each given year. So please make an effort to get to as low as possible for zero. There might be a bit of leeway this year because it is a new interpretation, but you need to be doing it. And so address and look at your accounts prior to submitting your license and try and get that down to as little as much as possible. Of course, you can still accrue funds. That's not gone away, but you must apply to do that, and you must have it for a specific purpose. So if you're rebuilding or you're doing some renovations and you're putting it away, they would expect to see the plans and what you're doing and when you're going to be doing it. You can't just put it in and say, no, we want to accumulate funds. You've got to have a bit of specifics around it. The other issue that we have noticed is some people do their GMAS and their GC7 and it looks nothing like what's in their audited accounts. They should match. We really do need to get into a situation where your audited accounts mirror what you are putting in your GMAS and your part of your GC7. So make sure that you're using the same figures. Otherwise, if they start seeing things, that's when they start to question. So make life easier for yourselves. The other part of that is, and look, some of this stuff as well, when Barry and I are around, if you need us to talk to your accountants, because I know some of the clubs rely on their accountants to do a lot of this stuff, and the accountant goes, yeah, this is the way I do it. Well, sorry, you need to be doing it this way now to make life easier for yourselves. You need to separate your gaming away in your audited accounts. So we do still have a few clubs out there that just put everything together. And no wonder the regulators get really frustrated when they're looking at a set of accounts because they can't work out what's being attributed to what. So ensure that you have a separation of your gaming machine accounts in your audited accounts so that and basically then it can match what you're putting in your GC7. So part of that, of course, is we have, and that once again, this probably relates more back to some of our smaller clubs who are struggling to get the 3712 return. Just because you can't get your 3712 return doesn't mean you can leave some of these fields out. You must apportion something to these 2, 4, 5 things which they are now expecting to see. So wages related to gaming, insurance, electricity, accounting fees and audit fees. They can't be left blank. If you leave them blank, they think you are just fudging your accounts to make it look like that you can return your 3712. So put something in there. There is on the next slide, there is, and we still have the apportionments, the table which we issued. It is a subject that we are currently working with the DIA around, but at this stage, that's probably going to be, Rome wasn't built in a day, and a lot of other things weren't either, but we want to try and get an understanding around these because they were set way back probably 22 years ago. So are they actually relevant today? So we are working with them, but for your accounts going forward of this year, make sure that you fill in and you have something in those fields. And for the bigger clubs, I know that you're going to be putting, particularly with the wages related to gaming. I looked at a set of accounts the other day. They attributed $110,000 to wages for things. As long as you can quantify what you're putting in, yes, by all means do it. But the big one is, particularly for our smaller clubs, is make sure you put something in. The other issue that we are noticing, and when we look at, because we generally get the conversations when somebody can't get that 3712 or they've had their license rejected or they've had the regulators questioning it, is around the 3712. When we look at things, one of the biggest things we note is your depreciation. Two things with the depreciation, of course. One is that you are accounting for it. Hopefully you're taking the money out and putting it into a bank account away from it so that you can then utilise that to upgrade your machines and keep everything sitting good. But the other thing is a lot of clubs we look at and the depreciation seems to be extremely high. Now that's fine if you've gone out and bought a whole lot of machines, but for some of the clubs we've looked at, they haven't bought anything in 4 or 5 years, and yet depreciation is extremely high. So it is a timely reminder to have a look at your asset register. I know as a manager, I didn't look at my asset register probably for about 15 years. And when I did, I noticed that we were still depreciating machines that had disappeared out of the gaming room. You need to write those off. So have a look at your depreciation schedule, particularly around your gaming. Is everything that you have in there, is it still there? If not, get it written off, because you will see that your depreciation is a very large figure and it's put down as a direct cost of gaming. So therefore it is actually hardening up the ability to get that 3712. Apart from that, as I said, when we're out and about, when Barry and I are around, we're more than happy as well to talk to your accountants or your treasurers or whoever around these things, just to ensure that we start getting people doing everything the same way. So there's those figures of the apportionments. Hey, look, use them. At this stage, as I said, we're working with the DIA at the moment to try and readjust these, look at them. Just looking at it today, we're probably going to go back to them saying for 4 bands, 0 to 150,000, then 150 to 500, 500 to 750, and then above 750, because the costs involved are very different for those different bands. So biggest issue and the biggest takeaway is make sure you put something into those fields.
Well, thanks, Keith. Most, if not all, use comms now, and as part of comms, they have the harm minimisation package available. We're encouraging all clubs to upgrade to taking that harm minimum package, minimisation package. Sorry. Keith and I met with Karen a few weeks back, and she's agreed to offer that free of charge to all new clients. And we're trying to get her to also offer that to existing and those that aren't using the harm min. The reasons we recommend it is that it just makes life so much easier for your gaming compliance. It includes the room suite prompts. It includes the electronic incident reporting, your persons of interest, although you do have to email Ganesh at Connect, Connect, just to get the approval for that. Concern. That means close connect con. Yeah. There's a lot of cons.
Yeah.
And also it provides you with the weekly manager review and reporting. Karen's details are there if you're not too sure how to reach out to her, but we do encourage you to take up that harm minimisation package to help make life in the compliance area much more usable. Similarly, they've also made some major improvements in FRT, facial recognition technology, and it's now reasonably affordable. And again, reach out to Karen. This will help with your harm minimised compliance. It's a game changer. Really, what you can do now with FRT and with the technology that's now on offer, it is a lot more affordable. So please do look at that if you can. What Keith and I are seeing as we go around the country is the number of clubs that are soulless with one manufacturer's gaming machines. Despite their best sales pitches, they do not have all of the best machines. One company does not have all of the best machines. Yes, I know some clubs out there are soulless with their alcohol, but would you go with just one company for that? Same rule applies really to your gaming machines. We're encouraging you to do your due diligence. Have a look, see what the local pub's got, and see what the local RSA are using for their, maybe not the RSA possibly, but see what the competition is using and what they've got in their rooms, and try and match where you can. We're also looking to the bigger clubs that can afford to swap out machines reasonably regularly, rather than trading in. Make those trade out machines available to smaller clubs if you can. It'll help lift the bar for our clubs and our gaming rooms in the smaller areas. So some food for thought there. The big takeaway from that is one company does not have all the best machines, folks, no matter what IGT or Aristocrat or they say. So just do your due diligence when you're looking at gaming equipment upgrades.
Just on that, guys, if you are one of those bigger clubs and you are swapping out your machines on a regular basis, good on you. Well done on getting your committee to agree to a process where you are upgrading your machines. If you would like to be helpful and be part of a scheme that can get some of our smaller clubs some machines at a far better price, or even if you're very bloody generous, might be for free, would be fantastic. And if you are, reach out to myself or Barry, because it is, it's very sad when we travel around and we go to some of our smaller clubs that struggle. They've got very low turnover in their gaming machines. They can't afford, even $5,000 for a machine. And their machines, I went to a club the other day, they had 9 machines, and not one of them would have been younger than 20 years. And I think the oldest was about 29 years old. So it's certainly well paid for, but of course they struggle to be able to change it up. And of course the local pub down the road's got all the greatest and latest. So if you are one of you very generous bigger clubs, and somebody that has that program, if you're willing to help, let us know so that we can start facilitating this through to our smaller clubs. So the other one comes into, which is service contracts. And again, for you lovely big clubs and you can afford it, great, magnificent, don't blame you. I had a service contract the whole time I was at the club. Yes, it took a lot of headache and heartache out of worrying about things. But when you've got a club, which I've recently seen, where their service contract was actually about 17.5% of their turnover, they can't afford it. So you seriously need to look at, do you need a service contract? Is it actually costing you more than what you can afford? Because that is an actual cost of gaming, is your service contract. So if it's eating into your expenses, you are going to struggle to find enough money back to authorised purpose. So for some of those smaller clubs, and that club I was talking about, basically they can't afford to have a service contract. They will never reach the 3712 if they keep incurring that sort of cost. So have a look at it. Go back to your supplier, to your service contractor. Tell them you can't afford it. What are your other options? What could you do? How could you get it down? Because it is just eating into what you can have to return to authorised purposes. So we don't say don't have it. You don't have to have a service contract. No legislation or requirement to have a service contract. Anybody can fix them. Your local electrician, I know in some clubs they use an electrician who fixes their machines. That's fine, as long as they know what they're doing. So the other, so just as we say, just have a look at that. If it's becoming too expensive for you, have a look at it. The other issue, which is a wee bit more sort of broad shoulder for everything, and hopefully we just thought we'd better throw this in, because of course if you do not do your re-registration for incorporated societies, if you get to the stage where you no longer hold a registration, basically your gaming license will cease. And then, of course, you've got to go through the process of getting a new gaming license. You'll also have to go and get a new liquor license, and good luck trying to get that. So you need to make sure that you are on track to get re-registered. Now, well done to the clubs that have, and we do know of quite a few, probably 70 or 80 of our clubs have re-registered. Well done. For the clubs that do have gaming, make sure you get them done, because you need your gaming license. So don't leave it to the thing going, oh no, we've got to March next year or sometime next year. Get it done now. Make sure. Because as you know, and even some of our clubs that have had fallen foul of not getting things in on time and have had to reapply for their own gaming licenses, it's a hell of a process. And also you might be going down from 18 machines to 9, because a new license can only have 9. So please have a look, make sure that you are on track to get your re-registering done as soon as possible.
Yeah, key point there, Keith, is make sure you re-register. Don't just simply upload your constitution, as we know that some clubs have. You actually need to go through the re-registration process. Mate, we must be doing all right, because so far there's no questions.
Well, I know.
And we're at the last topic to discuss this morning, and that is the Gambling Aotearoa portal. Look, the DIA would love everybody to sign up for this, and we seriously recommend it. As a former user of the portal, it just made my life so much easier in submitting updates, key persons, game amendments, and also the GC7. It streamlines the process, and you've got all your information at hand online, so that you can see who your current key persons are, and that your president from 5-6 years ago isn't still listed as a key person for your site. So yes, it is a bit of a hassle getting in the Realme login, but trust me, folk, the hassle is worth it, because it will save you in the long run. Again, Keith and I can help you with that process. You do need to get verified, but once you get it verified, life will be so much easier. So please do sign up and start using the Gambling Aotearoa portal.
And for those clubs that I'm visiting, don't forget I'm your friendly JP. So if you need to get your license signed off on as a true and correct copy, you don't even have to go anywhere. But yeah, I agree with Barry. What I've looked at it and had a look through it, and some of the people that I've talked to who have gone onto it, they absolutely swear by it now. So it will make your life easier. So spend the time to do it.
Lee, have we got any questions coming through? Hey, we faced this. Really?
Hey?
Well, we'll close out. People, ngā mihi, mō te hona mai ki. Oh, we've got a question.
Yeah.
Hey.
With the portal, could it be registered to the club instead of personal Realme?
No. Needs to be a personal login. You've got to actually verify yourself, so that includes facial recognition with your passport, but so it's got to be individual.
How can the DIA say that I need to remove some of my gaming machines?
No, that's what they're doing, and I have seen this. They're not telling you, they're suggesting to you, because you're probably struggling to return your 3712. So the easiest thing, and we have actually mentioned to a few clubs, and the unfortunate thing is, if you hand over your machines, you ain't getting back, but it'll basically split your gaming license in half and automatically put 4 or 5K on your bottom line by going down to what is deemed as a small site, which is 7 machines. So they are just looking at it. They're offering up suggestions. You don't have to do that, but you will probably need to address why you're not achieving your 3712.
Question here from Paul Inwood. Does a friendly society need to register?
No, you don't have to, Paul. But a lot of the friendly societies are taking the opportunity to rechange their rules, because of course these are even probably older than the incorporated society ones.
Yes, the webinar is being recorded, so we will, once we've edited it and got it ready, we will be putting that out there to watch again if you have any issues.
And post this webinar, if you've got any questions, please do reach out to Keith and I. Our contact details are on the website, Clubs New Zealand website, so please do reach out, and as we're going around, we look forward to seeing you, and we look forward to those questions as well. Any more questions, Lee? Nā mihi mō te hono mai ki te Gaming and Clubs webinar. Kia pai te matariki, noho hamaru, noho koa. Thanks for joining us for this Gaming and Clubs webinar, team. Have an awesome matariki, stay safe and enjoy. And in the words of the two Ronnies, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.